Good afternoon, everyone. How's the Josh? Thank you, AdTech, for this opportunity. You know, I grew up in an army home because my dad was in the army. And there was one brand that came to our house every month with the grocery shopping. Many of you can relate to it, right? So I grew up eating Prash from the company Dabur. So Dabur is really, really close to me for so many years. So I would like to give the mic to Rajiv to say a few words about his journey and about himself in his own words.
So, you know, back when you were a kid, that's the time when I joined Dabur, you know. It's been that long, and the journey has been fantastic. When I joined the company, it was very small. We were just about 200 odd crore company at that point of time. We are about 11,000 crores now, and working across different categories. We are leaders in a lot of categories. We are followers in a lot of categories, trying to do better every day. Moreover, like, for example, we entered oral care category just about 2 decades back. There we have become number 2 to Colgate, beaten levers by a small margin right now. Been in the hair care category, been number 2 in that category. Then Prash, juices, honey, etc. Been number 1 by far, like more than 60% market share. We've been doing things which have touched the chord with people. People have related to our brands. They have been very close to our brands. And, you know, in our business, we say that it's a repeat order business. You have to go and sell the same product to same person again and again. So that's what we've been able to do very consistently. There's a huge brand loyalty which goes along with this. That's because the kind of quality products we've been making over the years. And through media, which is my main job, we try to reach to the right consumers. The consumers have been changing, evolving. Every time we have a new set of consumers, to reach out to them in whatever possible way. That's what we're going to discuss today, right? About how we can reach out to 1 billion plus people who speak 121 languages, over 11,800 dialects, and Hindi is just one of them, you know, and English is one of them. So there are other languages, other dialects which exist in this country.
So I belong to that marketing era, which was the traditional marketing, and digital marketing was just starting to bud from there. And Amitabh, you also kind of started, you've seen the shift of both, you know, the traditional marketing to digital marketing. So why not hear about you in your own words and your journey?
Okay. Yeah, so that shift has been a wonderful journey, you know. Those good old days of traditional media, you know, starting from radios to print, then television coming in, and then the digital actually coming out taking over place. It's a remarkable journey. I think most of us have experienced it. And the very idea of, you know, planning, doing media planning, or, you know, planning to reach out the individuals behaviorally rather than just demographically, that has been the great shift that we have seen with digital stepping in and growing from its from what it was earlier and what it is today. And that is what is good. So I'm like you. I was also been from a defense background. My father was in the Air Force, so had a lovely, yeah, we are all Prash guys, you know, the Prash generation. So had the understanding of how to adapt and understand cultures, you know, at a very early age. And then I've been using that to, you know, for earlier media sales and now creating MarTech products. So yeah, that's our journey. So we at Valueleaf, we are a group of companies. We are an AdTech company, Valueleaf. We have a MarTech company. We've created multiple products, MarTech products to help the advertisers to ensure that brands become closer to individuals. We bring them closer to them. And yeah, and we've got a company called Buddy Loan, so that's how it is.
So Rajiv, tell us how localization marketing, how have you applied that over the years, and also how have you applied it in different generations? Because you know, our parents could force us to eat what, or you know, have what we could, but today the net Y or Gen Y, whatever you call the new generation, how are we going to compel them to start, a certain lifestyle or start consuming a certain brand? How do you deal with it in Dabur?
You know, when we were passing out from college, that time, that was a time for Generation X, that point of time. Now it's become Z now. I think very soon it's going to change. So those days, you know, in our days, our biggest influencer for us was our parents, right? And then sometimes teachers also. So we just listened to these two people and probably some friends. Our parents used to tell, don't listen to your friends, but you know, that's the only thing which stuck with us. I think that's changed now. I think these influencers are doing the job of uh, I'm not, in a way, I won't say parents, but you know, influencing people to go out uh, and buy products or say experiment with something new. How localization has helped us is basically that you know we have tried to identify different regions in the country, different zones in the country, different dialects, and tried to reach out to the consumers like that. Recently, you know, I just was forwarded with a Facebook post from somebody. He sent me a wall painting picture from Bihar, from uh, in a language is not Bhojpuri. We all have heard Bhojpuri, but you know, there's another language in Bihar called Maithili. So in Maithili, there's a wall painting made by us for a brand called Dashmola Rist, which has gone viral somehow. You know, people have been sharing that, you know, amongst the Maithili people that, you know, look at this company. This has been making hoarding, making the wall painting in our language. Otherwise, what happens typically is that you go to a state, you think Bihar, they would understand Hindi, write everything in Hindi, right? So this way we've been trying to understand different SCRs. Like in India, every 20 kilometers the dialect changes, the language changes. Trying to reach out to the consumers in their own language, their own influencers, their own celebrities, and trying to basically localize content, create the content in that region, going to that region, and creating it. Like for example, we have our central marketing team here in Delhi. We call it Delhi, actually it's Ghaziabad. Uh, so, and apart from that, we have different marketing teams based in different parts of the country. They are rooted, they are grounded, they listen to what's happening locally, give us insights, and then we create content for them. Apart from that, we have a massive setup of command center. We do a lot of social listening from there and get insights from there and create content and give it back to people and talk to them in their language. Basically, that's helped a lot, reaching out to people.
Amitabh, what about your take on localization? Because your company now has so many inventories, right, to get into, like, provide a 360-degree marketing approach to brands. So what is your take on localization, and also how are you going to tackle the new generation of buyers?
Oh, so localization is must. There is no, uh, if somebody is missing out on it, you're doing a great mistake. The more you deep delve into it, like Rajiv was mentioning, they have a complete team that is grounded and they are understanding the culture, they are understanding the, requirement of the market, trying to relate to people in their own language, in their own culture. That is very, very important. And you will, correct me if I'm wrong, Rajiv, they will see a huge growth once they start, shift in that. And that is how, in fact, yeah, so what we experience in, to speak digitally, so we have a DSP of our own, which we support regional languages. Um, and we have seen that the advertisements on regional languages in that particular region have a much, much higher CTR and a conversion ratio as compared to in English within that language, within that region, despite, more or less relating to the same reach when we are focusing even with the same reach. So That's definitely plays a lot of things. So we are doing multiple things. So we have kind of all our MarTech products that we have created are purely, like our DSP actually supports regional languages. It's quite an automated process. Uh, we've got an app which is creating micro influencers across the region, and so we've gone to that extent of actually influencing the personal social circles, creating influences within the personal social circles, and that is giving us some wonderful results. Wonderful results. In fact, we are seeing it. Results at a much higher percentile as compared to other channels that we use for marketing.
When we talk about localization, the stars and the sports personalities also play a very big role. So how is Dabur looking at the star endorsement strategy moving forward?
So, we use almost everybody, like almost all the stars, like right from Amitabh Bachchan using him at the age of 80 to Akshay Kumar to like Deepika, Kareena, everybody, like most of the big celebrities are with some brand or the other. So it really helps to have them. If you use them, what happens is that immediately there's a connect with the brand, and it really helps. But depends how you use them. I mean, they shouldn't be used as a Superman or something like that. It should be used as a normal human being consuming the product. So that's what we've been using. So that basically cuts eyes across, say, a large section of population. Then thereafter, what happens is the second layer, third layer, fourth layer, more. I mean, so as to say that, like somebody, you need to spread the word of mouth kind of communication. So you need the second level of push, which is through a micro or nano influencer. So that also works in a big way. But those days are gone that you have one celebrity and will be okay for the whole country. You will need multiple celebrities. Like, for example, again, coming back to the example of Chyawanprash, we have like Akshay Kumar, we use for the Hindi heartland. For South, we use Nagarjuna. For red toothpaste, for example, we have Amitabh Bachchan, which cuts eyes across the northern part of the country. For southern part and other regions, we have different celebrities, local celebrities who work for us. And imagine it's a number one toothpaste brand in South. In Tamil Nadu is number one. In Andhra Pradesh is number one. Orissa number one. And lots of geographies is number two. And it has happened not because of the celebrity. It has been because the brand has been celebrity. A big brand has been itself a powerful entity in itself to generate so much of business on its own. To cut the long story short, I mean, it works to create awareness initially, but the brand also must have a strong power to sustain it.
What about your take on celebrities endorsing brands?
That would actually depend upon the brand journey and what positioning they want to do. Yes, very rightly put by Rajiv, and we were discussing this earlier, that earlier, we used to have one celebrity, but then came the time when you have multiple celebrities. So you would have another celebrity for South, you will have another celebrity for East, and so on and so forth. Then came the era when you're even looking further down, you're having a different celebrity for Tamil Nadu, you're having a different celebrity for Karnataka, and so on and so forth, right? What I'm sure, what brands must be facing a challenge, and this I've come across while discussing with multiple brands across the years that I'm speaking, is that with the growth of influencers, weighing the importance of a celebrity versus influencers, which multiple brands speak, especially the ones that are not really are budget constraints or have this thing, how well they can be able to replace them with that is something that is very interesting. Very interesting. Of course, Dabur and everything, everybody can't be Dabur, that's the beauty of Dabur.
So I have a very interesting example for that, who's the biggest influencer, not celebrity became later, who's the biggest influencer in this country? for the products.
Is the person next
No,
to you so close
no.
to you?
Swami Ramdev has been the biggest influencer for his products, right? So he began as a yoga influencer and then suddenly pivoted into products and has his own line of products. So imagine, I mean, that's also happened in this country, you know, I mean, and that's what we have seen in other countries also, like in US, there's there are lots of such brands which have been started by, like, Kardashians have started their own.
So the scenario with digital era, actually videos and all everything growing and the mobile phones reaching out to every individual and people start creating content by themselves, you know. Uh, I think the definition of celebrity needs to be changed, you know. Yeah, definitely we are talking about big celebrities, the film actors and so on and so forth, but within every region or within every group, there are celebrities within themselves, you know. Today there are so many stand-up comedians that we see, which are a big celebrity by themselves, starting a very humble journey. So the whole scenario and what celebrity has to be, what is the definition of celebrity and how celebrities and influencers are actually converging towards a single point, that's a very interesting journey to study.
Yeah, with 6.7 million Indians blogging, right, having blogging sites, how do you as brands, and you working for so many brands, how do you actually evaluate which influencer we should go with, which blogger, vlogger we need to go with? How does that whole process happen? Or do you see that it is an industry which is getting little disorganized and we need to organize it in some way?
So, you know, you have to use a lot of filters. Like, for example, for hair oils, I mean, we use a lot of insights for products. So if I'm using somebody for honey, for example, right, I'll use somebody who's a fitness enthusiast, right? So we used people like Sonu Sood, Mandira Bedi, Moni Roy. So these people came as influencers, not as a mega celebrity. We used to have Jacqueline Fernandez once, no longer. She's not no longer there. But, you know, so use these kind of celebrities for brands like these. Then we got one insight that, you know, for hair oils, you know, especially for Amla hair oil kind of brand, you find that people who are dancers, like Bharatanatyam dancers and like really that level of dancers, they tend to grow a long hair, right?
Yeah.
So we use that kind of profile in our communication. So you have to use these filters for every brand. You can't use every celebrity for every brand. You know, there has to be some connection. You have to have your own filter. So every brand has its own filter which it uses.
That's with the celebrities, because you know the celebrities. But when it comes to the regular bloggers today, if you see, influencers are sitting in every house, right? I mean, they are not just on the TV screen. Today, every household, someone or the other is blogging. So every household you will have one or two people blogging or being Instagram influencers. So how do you actually, how does your team actually go and identify who are the right people that we want to approach? How do you filter that? And what is your message to this generation of influencers that are growing in the household? Because they are actually touching, feeling the product, right? They are actually using the product and then talking about it.
So, you know, so one thing is very important, that the filters which I talked about, that's one. Secondly, you know, whether that person is true to the product also or not, right? So that also is very important. Like, I can't be influencer for hair oils, right? Nobody will buy hair oil if I become an influencer for hair oils or shampoos. You know, so like that. So you have to use the right kind of filter and see how true that person is to the product.
Okay.
So, and of course, I mean, what is the number of followers, etc. So those things are important too.
Yeah. You have a product which works with the community of influencers and bloggers. So how do you evaluate them? And what is it that you provide as a mentorship to this community of influencers that are
So
building.
it's not a product that use a community of influencers or followers. Basically, it's an app called Share and Earn, where we it's most of a social referral app. What we've noticed is that people have become influencers within the community, within their own WhatsApp circles and how it is doing. So I just adding on to what Rajiv had mentioned about your last question, and there's a point where we know that we will reach out to these brands. We will reach out to these brands will reach out to these specific influencers. Okay, where you can have an filter whether there's a brand fitment with that in particular individual, at what level, whether it's a as big a person as a Sonu Sood or maybe a B or a C or XYZ. You know how they will measure it. There are multiple people as a user who are going to create your videos and post it. So they might not be having a huge fan following like a big celebrity who has as an influencer, but collectively they influence a huge volume, and digitally also, if we have to evaluate it, the search, your brand valuation XYZ is actually gets impacted with that. Because let's say if one celebrity who has a million followers vis-a-vis 10,000 individuals who have maybe 5 to 10 followers, 100 followers, 200 followers, 1,000 followers, uh, but if that impact happens within a shorter time, it makes a lot of difference. So the idea of what we thought about it was how to let people become influencers within their own circles. So that is, I think that is what is going to become the next level of things. So of course, there is the model of going to big influencers and doing which will continue. It's a very good model, not denying about it. But then, how to make people influencer by themselves, and that is the age what if most of the people have, and we've noticed that with TikToks and Reels and XYZ. Yeah,
So yeah, I just wanted to say, so Manjula herself is an influencer.
yeah.
So
Why
she's
not?
a startup influencer. She advises startups and does her own videos, 100,000 followers plus, and gives advice to people for doing a startup, starting a startup, and
Thank you.
a lot of pro bono work as well
Thank you.
for
Thank you so
startups.
much. Thank you both of you for a very, very insightful session. And we are available at the venue. If anybody has questions, come over and, meet us. Thank you so much. Thank you.